Hi, I'm Barbara O'Brien. I'm an animal trainer and photographer, and I'd like to welcome you to The Empathetic Trainer. Hi, I'm Barbara O'Brien, and welcome to The Empathetic Trainer. Today's guest is Julie Ann Thorne, all the way from the UK, so we're pretty excited about that. Julie Ann Thorne is a holistic cat therapist, empath, author, cat mom, psychologist, and certified behaviorist. She has worked with cats for over 15 years and has founded Naturally Cats to provide holistic help for cats and their guardians. Well, that sounds amazing. And I want to say right away, cats and their guardians. That just has a really good feeling about it. Because pet owner, we own them. It's a whole thing, right? And I'm kind of liking, wow, I'm the guardian of several amazing cats. But but guardian just strikes me as a lovely word. And so we'll just kind of start at the beginning. First of all, thank you for coming on the show. We're grateful for that. I got your book, and we're going to talk about this book quite a bit. Cat Chakras. Am I pronouncing chakras right?
Either or, chakras, as long as, all the
Chakras.
same
Okay.
thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. And we'll definitely want to talk about that because I'm completely do not know any of this. And I was reading it and I'm like, wow. But to begin with, I'd like to know a little bit about you. Like, when did this start? Did you just wake up, I'm a cat person? Or did it come, tell me a little bit about early Julie Ann, maybe your first experience with cats. And then we'll just keep going. But I want to hear from you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Barbara. And thank you for having me on the podcast. It's a real opportunity to be here. So thank you very much. It's lovely. So, yeah, we've always had cats in my family. My mum and dad got divorced when I was young, but they each had cats. So my grandparents had cats, my aunties had cats. We are a cat family. I'm not anti-dog in any way, shape, or form, but we've all had cats. So when I finished university after doing my psychology degree, I knew that I wanted to get my very first cat. It was like non-negotiable. And the first cat that came into my life, I waited 5 months for her because I went to rescue centres and they didn't have cats. How does that work? Like rescue centres not having cats available to rehome?
They're always overrun with cats, right? I mean,
I know.
that's what the thing. So
Exactly. I waited until the rescue centre called, said that they had a cat, and it was Pickle. And for anybody that follows me on social media or has read any of my content, know that she was the cat that changed my life. So being, like you said, her guardian, I became very uncomfortable with the term owner very early on, whilst being like her mum. I didn't definitely with Pickle did not own her in any way. She and
that's funny. It's a her. We know this, right?
so people would say that, don't they? Cats are more relaxed, and I don't necessarily agree with that because I think each cat's a unique individual. But I heard the term guardian when I did some training and thought that just really resonates for me. I guard this soul while she's with me, in this form. And Pickle, she was a very, very poorly cat. We had her for 13 years. She broke my heart. She pushed my boundaries. She inspired me. She changed my world. And I created Naturally Cats because of her, because she was incredibly poorly. We had arthritis, gingivitis, pancreatitis, diabetes, dandruff, constipation. We had so many problems, and I was desperate to do as much as I could for her, and I didn't feel like we were getting anywhere with vets. And that's not to disrespect vets in any way. We just weren't getting answers. She wasn't getting well. So she led me to train in animal healing, and then the courses kind of evolved from there. I'm happy to go into the journey with her, but again, I could probably talk about Pickle for like a good hour.
I understand that. So Pickle was definitely, we have an expression, a heart cat. Like
Yes.
all cats are wonderful, but there's particular animals in your lives. I have a particular heart horse, even with all the horses. Particular heart dog, although I love them all. My particular heart cat's 19 years old right now. And she sleeps on my head every night, and her name is Evelyn. And so I understand the depth of feeling that you would have had, for Pickle. So how does
Yeah.
how did like was this a new trend, a new growing thing? Learning about, were you in the right place at the right time to learn these modalities, these things about cats? Was it out there for you to learn, or did you have to like figure this out all by yourself? Did you, how did you go about learning
Yeah,
these things?
kind of a bit of both. So I wanted someone who could give me a holistic approach to helping her. We could look at all the elements that affected her. When I was going to the vet, it was very much symptom treatment, symptom treatment. And
Okay.
I'm like, there's got to be more than this. What is this holistic approach? We tried a bit of homeopathy, we tried a bit of acupuncture, and again, it was still very much one treatment or one method and one change. So I had a moment with her on the sofa, on the couch, as you guys would say, and we were sat spooning, as you do, on the sofa, cuddled up together, watching the
Right.
telly. And I was at the point where we'd been to and fro the vets for nearly 2 years because she was vomiting
Oh,
regularly.
poor
And
kitty.
all they kept saying to me was change her food, change her food. And I was at the point where I just fell into surrender. I was on the sofa with her and there was nothing else that I could do. So I had my hand on her tummy because we would sit that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
And in my heart, I just kept repeating, help me heal her, help me heal her. Like, I don't know who I was talking to. I'm
Huh.
not particularly religious. I just didn't know what else to do. So that's what we did. And then at this point, she was diabetic. So we used to check her blood glucose by pricking her ear to get a little droplet of blood. I checked her blood glucose after this incident on the sofa, and her reading was 5.6, which was the lowest we'd ever known. And
Huh.
actually, she didn't have that number ever again.
Huh.
And I was just blown away.
Wow. So do you feel that the intention and the energy that you brought to that
Absolutely.
moment, with help from wherever a person wants to call it, those pieces came together, and like the intention and energy did something that showed you that something was possible for healing cats?
That's exactly it. You've captured it brilliantly. That's exactly it. I mean, up until this point, I was a psychologist. I have a psychology degree, so I'm very
Oh,
much
okay.
about
So linear thinking.
behavior
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
science and
So,
the logical approach. So it blew my mind, and from that moment, I looked into Reiki. I searched for hands healing, and I trained in Reiki. Then I trained in animal healing because the human stuff was fine, but I wanted, to find out how to read cats, how to work with cats, how to
yeah.
connect with cats. So I did a diploma in animal healing, which was very, unfortunately, dog focused, dog centric. We had a couple of cats, but not many.
No, I love dogs too.
Me too,
Yeah.
me too.
Yeah.
But and then on that course, the tutor mentioned about self-selection, about using oils and essential oils and dried herbs
Okay.
to support
Okay.
cats
All right. Well, now,
emotionally
now
and
you're getting into
energetically.
a territory. I mean, I understand the energy part a little bit because I feel that's very much how it works, because in my head, we're all energy, right? And whatever. So,
Absolutely.
but when you talk about Reiki and we start talking about these other things, you're going to have to educate me. So then also that'll help educate our listeners who aren't familiar. I mean, I've heard the words, I know, but it doesn't mean I know what they mean.
Indeed.
So if you could, please, for us, we'll start with, what does Reiki mean? What is that about?
So Reiki is a form of energy healing, and you can have something called an attunement, which essentially means that you find the frequency of the universal healing energy. So you're
Okay.
then able to channel that energy, to use that energy purposefully with a range of symbols to heal or support the healing of a human or an animal. So for me, Reiki is a lovely modality. Yet I also do believe that everybody has the capacity to heal, even if they aren't attuned to Reiki. Because as
Okay.
you said a minute ago, it's about intention and energy.
Okay.
So, Reiki is a beautiful space. And if people want to have training and qualifications about energy, that's an option that they could explore.
Okay. Well, okay, good. So yeah, they certainly can find more information out about that. Then the next thing you mentioned was healing oil. Is that what you said? Healing oils or something like
So,
that?
so I did it. The diploma that I did was in animal healing, and
Animal
during
healing.
that, the tutor mentioned about using essential oils and dried herbs with cats and dogs. So the term is zoopharmacognosy, which is a very, very long word.
I'm
It
not sure I
means
could repeat it.
generally it's referred to as zoopharma or self-selection. So basically, it's zoopharmacognosy translates to animal medicine knowing, and
Oh,
it's
okay.
all about the fact that animals have the capacity to choose what they need to heal. So you've got horses.
Right.
You'll have seen, some of your horses will eat certain herbs, bushes, flowers, plants at different times of year.
Hmm.
They are choosing those
Yeah, like
because of the
dogs eat
healing
grass,
properties
right?
of that plant.
Dogs go outside and eat grass. I mean, right? They, at least mine do. I live on a farm and they're like eating grass all the time. So there must be
Or mud.
something in, yeah, with what they eat, right? Okay, so I understand that. That's pretty cool. Um,
Mhm.
so then let's talk about so your cat felt this energy from you or however it worked, and it opened up your mind to new possibilities. Okay, so then you went and got learned more about it. So
Mhm.
then how did you start? First of all, did the cat feel better? Like, did it help in what happened? And then you're opening the new knowledge that you have. Did that help
Mm.
Pickles in the long run?
Yes, it did. So basically, the training with the healing, the self-selection, and then the chakra work. And I know we haven't mentioned that, but like you said, we will. So it spanned over a period of probably about 6 to 7 years. And
Hmm.
what happened is every time I learnt a new modality, I used it with Pickle, and she did benefit. She would self-select spirulina, which boosts the immune system. She would work with, a lot of people are familiar with like dried catnip, which helps to reduce stress and anxiety.
Now, isn't
There
that
are other.
interesting? Catnip, because that's, naturally that's something I think of, and we, cats enjoy it, and it grows wild
Mhm.
here too as well. I've never thought of it as like, I guess, of course, that's why cats are drawn to it, right? And of course, it does help them to relax and have some fun. And like, I wish I had some of that. So but I never really put that the cat would self-select it. Like, duh, how do we know cats like it? Because they self-select it. So that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Pickles
Yeah.
is feeling better. What made you decide to, like, okay, this is working for Pickles, and I'm learning these things. How to take what you really care about and want to share with the world. How did you make that step to starting to work with other people's cats? Like, did people come to you and go, "My cat has a problem," or tell me how that process worked?
Hmm. So naturally, cats the kind of was a hobby for a good few years, and with every course that I did, because I did the diploma, it was always a couple of years. It was never just like a weekend course. I wanted to learn as much as I could, and I'm the kind of person that likes detail. And like I said, I do
Mhm.
have that logical side of me, so I wanted the evidence, the experience. So I would work with case studies, and then some of those case studies would become clients. They would want a second treatment, a second visit. So then I would charge them a very small nominal
Oh,
amount at the
okay.
time,
Okay.
and started that way.
Okay. Well, that I can see how that could build, and you're helping cats. So however it happened, it's good that it happened. Okay,
Yeah.
so I have a number of cats, and I do my best to make sure that they all have their own resources, so that nobody's fighting over food, nobody's fighting over litter boxes, nobody's fighting over places to sleep and things like that. It took me a long time to start to learn that, wow, when that one cat sits on the top of the stairs and stares down at the other cat, that's a thing. Like, to
Hmm.
learn their body language and stuff like that. We will get into the chakras, but what was the most when people come to you with a problem, you know, what would you say is the most prevalent, common problem that people are having, that they're, like the cat's in danger of being placed or put down? I mean, it's just such a serious problem that they're like, this isn't working. We got to get rid of the cat, and that's the worst outcome. So, what are the most serious problems, or the things that happen the most commonly? I guess I should say.
I think the two most common misunderstood behaviors in cats are aggression and anxiety. So they generally manifest as weeing outside the litter tray or weeing around the home, or aggression, which is obviously the cat's reactive. You can't pick them up. They may hiss, they may start to scratch. And both of those have emotional causes. So people over the years would come to me sometimes with behaviors related to those two situations, but there's always an emotional cause. And the problem that we have is actually, for a large portion of the situation with cats, is the humans. The humans don't understand where the aggression is coming from. What type of aggression is it? Is the cat in pain? Are they fearful? Have they got limited resources? Is their territory being impacted? Do they have a physical issue? Where is their aggression coming from? Or their anxiety? Why are they presenting with anxiety? The cats are inherently clean animals. Cats are social, sentient, sensitive beings. So they can't be left alone for days at a time. They need connection and interaction and relationships, like dogs, like humans. So when we have humans who have a cat or expectations of a cat, my cat should be cuddly, my cat should do this, should do that, that's when we have a problem. And that's when people would come to me to ask me to effectively change their cat, which for a while I was, because I'm a trained behaviorist as well. For a while, I'd say probably about 12 months maybe, I did work with people with behavior modification, supporting the cat in their environment, changing, bringing things in to support the cat's emotional state. And then actually I realized that the results were limited in terms of the duration of how long they lasted for, because it wasn't until I started working with the humans or the guardians that I then realized that their emotional state was impacting the cat, I said, their expectations, etc.
Right.
So
you are speaking the language of the things I'm learning about when I talk to my podcast guests, because with horses and dogs and any other mammal, it's the exact same thing. What we bring to the table, what we bring to the relationship, and those expectations affect that animal's behavior. I completely understand. I train animal actors, and so I work with animals that are in commercials and print ads and movies and things like that. And I've done that for a very long time. And I shape cats. There's no cats only agree. there's not. You can probably dominate a dog and a horse to a point, but there's no dominating a cat and having the cat be happy about it. And I don't want any animal to be working that's not happy in their work. We just don't do that. Yeah. And so I've learned, hopefully over time, to continue to learn their body language and understand. And so I choose the cats carefully, but it's all intention. It's all like really like, okay, please, I'd like you to wear this, silly sweater. We're going to wear this sweater. Is it in UK? We say jumper, I think, right?
Yes. Yes.
So I want you to wear this because that's what the photo shoot's about. Because the client is selling the sweater, right? Cats normally not choosing to wear clothes. Why? They have a pretty good fur coat. Don't really need it, but I work with my cats and I go, you're going to look so nice in this and it's going to feel really good. And we're going to put it on very gently. And you already know that I've shaped the behavior to please sit, stay, because there's this yummy turkey that we're going to be giving you. And it's really fun because I'm giving off that intention. The cat since they were kittens, have been socialized, brought to the studios, used to things, nothing scary. They actually look quite proud. And when I open the crate, because I brought them to the studio, I opened the crate for them to come out. They come out, the body language and the tail goes up and they're just like, look at me. And everyone goes, oh, because they're all happy the cat's there. And it's all the whole crew's energy towards the cat. And the cat loves it. Now, you can't just take somebody's house cat and put him in that situation. It's not fair. No, because they don't expect.
No, and I love the fact that you said about the respect there, the respect of the cat, the respect of their emotional state, the respect that you're showing them, you're going to wear this jumper, but, we're going to talk to you about how long you're going to have it on for, and there's going to be the reassurance with the treats at the, there is the respect and the understanding that it's a cat you're working with. They are no lesser than any human or dog.
I do say to the photographers that are learning, other people, that I go like, it is a cat. Okay, it is a cat. We're going to shape a behavior, or they'll say something. Can he do da 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 da? And I'll go, I'll ask him, because it's like ludicrous. There's not a little man in there that has the frontal cortex to understand. Do this, do this, do this, do this. All I do is shaping a natural behavior, and I. Okay, we do dress them up. I'm sorry, but that's.
I was going to say, I'm not sure natural goes alongside wearing a jumper, but I know what you mean.
I mean, so but that's just a, one example. Most of the time it's like, please sit here, be a pretty cat, so I try not to do anything that is terrible for their dignity, because it's not, because whatever. Because if you do something, you put something on them that looks funny and you start to laugh at them, they feel that. And I don't want to do that, And so instead we always go like, oh, look at you, you're so wonderful. And it's a matter of 5-10 minutes. That's all it is, because we get the shot. It's like, we're done. There's no reason to do it any longer. I sound like I'm being terribly cruel to my cats. It's not true.
No, not at all. But like you said, though, if you walked into a room, for a meeting or a party, and everybody turned and laughed at you, how would you feel? Right? Cats are sentient beings. They have emotions.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to get at. Building them up.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, exactly.
So I get that. So you're exactly right, though, because the same thing works with horses and so. And then I've heard this, that of course I can't remember exactly which book I read it in, but we're mammals too. We're animals too. And so what our cats and dogs and other mammals that we're working with, and then I still think birds and other things too, because they all have, they're all living. Okay. They feel it as well. And so we have to remember that we have all those same feelings we can feel other people's energy towards us naturally, of course. Right. So
Absolutely.
why wouldn't a cat, a dog, anything else feel that? So, okay. So then let's talk about chakras, because this is a whole new world for me. And I'm assuming that chakras work similarly in all the mammals, all the living things. Is that right? Yeah. So
Absolutely.
For the layperson, for the person that's never been there, could you please explain?
Sure. So I'm happy to talk about cat chakras. So chakras are they're your core energy centers. Essentially, it's how energy moves from your environment into your body and vice versa, from your body out into your environment. So your auric field, which is the field that sits around your body, that is connected to your main energy centers, which are your chakras, extends out, for humans, extends out as far as your arm stretches. That's how far out your energy moves around your body. For cats, it's generally around the height of their tail. If they've got one, their energy is all around their body.
Now that's interesting to me, because you said like it extends out to the arm length. Okay. Isn't that mostly in most cultures how far apart we stand when we're strangers? And so respecting a cat's space would be that energy around their tail. So instead of like grabbing a strange cat, which would be so rude, how would you like it if somebody came and picked you up, like literally picked you up and carried you off? That would be rude, right? So you would want to like stay in that bubble, in the sense of like, can I come into your bubble, please? Right? So I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just thought about that. Like, wow, that makes sense to me, that it would extend out that way around each particular species, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that is one of the reasons why with cats, people say, let them come to you, put your hand out, put your arm down, put your hand, out towards them and let them come to you, because they are choosing to enter your energy field, your energy space, and also making the choice for you to enter and to feel theirs. Now, there are some cats that are like with humans, right? No two cats are the same, because they're a species. They're not, they're not lemmings. They're not all one thing. They are all unique, as are we. So some cats will come straight up to you. They'll be quite cuddly. They'll let you touch them. They'll go straight onto their side, show you their tummy. Like some humans are really friendly. They're touchy-feely. They give you hugs. They're very tactile. And you'll have some cats, as you do with humans, that won't tolerate physical contact, that won't like to be around other people, that are very sensitive to human energy or to other energy. So with cats, in a way, it's no different to humans. So when people say to me, cats are small dogs, I have to say, I really don't agree with that at all. They are a completely different species. However, I do liken cats to humans, with the parallels that they have, like I said, in terms of their uniqueness, their individuality, and their energy. Their ability to sense energy is phenomenal. I mean, I'll never forget when I had my wisdom teeth out. I had all 4 wisdom teeth out in one go, and I went to bed. I had really strong painkillers, and Pickle came and sat on my shoulder and against my cheek, and I was so swollen. It was so painful.
Right.
And I'm sure people that are watching or are listening, will have experienced moments when their cats have come up to them when they're poorly.
Oh
right?
yeah, no, they do. They know this. My cat Evelyn, I spoke of, the calico that's 19 now. Years ago, when I was having trouble with my wrist, and it would be painful, and I'd had to wear a brace and things. I'd sleep at night here with my hand up here, and she found that she would always lay on it like this living heating pad, and it was the
Mhm.
most comforting feeling. And she still sleeps there, whether my hand's there or not. But it was that comforting feeling, like she knew, and it was the hand that hurt that she would like lay on, and it was this warm wonderful feeling. And aren't there studies where like if you're petting a cat and you're relaxed, it like lowers your blood pressure, like aren't there studies
Absolutely.
like that,
Yeah, there are studies to do with it when you stroke them about how it lowers your blood pressure, but also the vibration of their purr. So when
ah,
we talk about energy, as you said, energy is made of vibration. Sometimes people call it frequency. The two terms are used interchangeably, but essentially that's how energy is
mhm.
measured. That's what makes up energy. So when you've got a cat that is purring, 90% of the time it's because they're happy. There are some cats that will purr when they're stressed, but it's not
Right,
as
yeah.
common. But generally people know that when cats are purring that they are happy, and it's to do with the frequency, the impact that it has on our energy centers, on our chakras, on our heart space.
Right. How
It's
can you not
phenomenal.
feel good when you're holding or near a purring cat? How can you not
I
feel
know.
good? I it just, like the day melts away when you're like relaxed and your cat is like, with you and wants to be with you.
Yes.
So we're going to go back to the chakras, but
Mm.
this is a phenomenon, and I just want to have you explain to our listeners, because I bet you know this. Why is it when you are not a cat person, and I don't know what that feels like, but pretend I wasn't a cat person, and I go somewhere and somebody has a cat, and they're giving, so I give off the energy like, don't come near me, don't come near me, I don't want to talk to you, cat. I don't want anything to do with you, cats, whatever. Why do some cats, or quite a few cats, go like, oh, now that's interesting, I have to go over there and I have to check that out. What is it that makes the cat go like, it's okay to go over to this person who's giving off like, don't come near me? Are they literally curious? Can you maybe explain that?
I think that's a really great question. So there are two reasons I would say that happens. One is a behavioral response. So cats are hardwired to avoid threats. They are
Mhm.
they are predator and prey animals. So when they are being basically eyed up, because if you don't like cats, what do? You watch that cat as they walk across the room to make
Oh
sure they're not
yeah.
coming anywhere near you. So your eye is trained on that cat as they walk around you. So one reason may be that cats will come to you to basically diffuse the situation, because they want to
Huh.
know, are you going to attack me? Are you going to be a threat to me? If
Wow.
another cat, and if there were two cats outside, they would come towards each other, not necessarily up close, but they would come
Hmm.
towards each other. They do a bit of a standoff to make
Hmm.
it short, and then they would decide to either fight or to disperse and walk away. So that's one of the potential reasons that the cat does it. The second
Okay.
reason is because they're healers, because they want to
Oh,
come towards you to shift your energy, to change your vibration in that space.
what a gift. What a gift that
Hmm.
cats give us then. I had not
Hmm.
ever thought of it from that point of view. I've always thought of it was more like your energy's so I'm curious. I love the fact that, because I do have cats that are like that are definitely, would be, if I had time, they'd be therapy cats. Like you could bring them and they would love to like heal, So
Hmm.
I get that. Sullivan, that's his role. I mean, he just like, I'm going to make you feel better. I'm going to come and be with you. But I've never thought of it from that perspective. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so we're going back to the chakras. We've talked about how it's a flow. So then go
Hmm.
ahead. Tell me some more, please.
Okay, so the way that I work with chakras with cats is I work with the main seven chakras. There are more. There is a school of thought that says that every acupressure point is a mini or micro chakra. So depending on which information you work with, my experience of working with chakras has been the seven main chakras. So that's the root, the sacral, the solar plexus, the heart, the throat, the third eye, and the crown. So they
Mhm.
literally, if you had a sideways picture of a cat, it starts at the base of the tail, works up through the body to just above the top of their head. Unfortunately, I can't show you visuals because we're audio, but basically,
Right.
it's the
Yeah.
whole of the cat.
Yeah, no, in your book, Cat Chakras, which is a complete guide to clearing, cleansing, and balancing your cat's core energy centers, and your book just came out, so I'm happy to have this copy. You have illustrated it quite well, and you have pictures and they're showing how you do things. It's really a great manual. It's like why, but also how, which is extremely, so then people can learn these things and help their cats, and in turn they're helping themselves. So they've
Absolutely.
done a great job illustrating it. So when you pick up, go get a go to. There'll be links in the podcast here. So go pick up her book and look at that.
Thank you, Barbara. I appreciate that, and I appreciate your feedback. That was the point of the book. So my mission, when I left my corporate job, my mission is giving cats a voice. You'll see that hashtag over everything, my social media, giving cats a voice. I thought I was doing that before when I was explaining to people their behavior, but actually what I've realized is when you can give a cat a voice, but unless the guardian is listening, that voice isn't heard, which is why I
Unless the
wrote the
guardian
book.
is listening is like so true. Same thing with horses,
Yeah,
dogs, anything else, children,
yeah,
right? Anything else. So
exactly. Yeah, so that's why I wrote the book, to give people the option. So you can come and have a treatment with me, but actually why not show you how to do it? The listener, the reader, like I said, I do believe that everybody has the capacity to manage, to channel universal healing energy. You may need some hints and tips as to how to do that, which are in the book, but you have the capacity, anybody listening, to feel the energy of your cat, to feel into their chakras. And when you have a cat like a human who has a set of balanced chakras, you're generally happy, healthy, and well. So
okay.
if you've got a blocked chakra, if you've got an out of balance chakra, and I don't want to go into too much detail because again, it could be a topic I could talk about for another hour,
Yeah,
if you've got a chakra that is out of alignment, it's not balanced, it can lead to physical issues. So, one of the
absolutely.
examples sorry, darling, what were you going to say?
Oh, I'm agreeing. That's all.
So it's something that we need to be mindful of as cat guardians. Yes, we provide litter trays and food and scratching posts, but energy work is like, it's like the forgotten pillar of health, and if I'd have known back with Pickle what I know now, I could have helped her even more, and I do believe that we are where we're meant to be and everything happens when it should. But there are times when I look at her and I think, I wish I'd known about color therapy. I wish I'd known how to support you with energy work, which again is another reason you'll see in the dedication in the book. That's why I wrote it.
Oh, sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, so then I'm trying to think of like what other problems. Oh, okay. So go back to the chakras just for a moment. When something's blocked, it can cause because the mind and body absolutely connected. I mean, I'm reading research, learning about things, how even the gut has its own brain, apparently. And your gut tells your brain things, so this works the same way in other mammals, I'm sure. So when you say a chakra is blocked, then what does a person do to help the yourself and the cat? Is it do unblock? What does that mean? Please.
Okay, so if you've got a cat that is, for example, like scratching the side of your sofa, it's not somewhere you want them to scratch. So you shout at them, some people
Hey,
say,
yeah,
what are you
typical,
doing?
right?
Leave it alone. Don't do that. Now, the cat is exhibiting a normal cat behavior. A cat
It needs
needs to scratch. They need
right.
to, many, many reasons. But what's actually happening is you are stopping that cat from expressing itself because it's doing a normal cat behavior. So
Right.
what could happen is the cat could have a blockage in their throat chakra. So the throat chakra is all about self-expression. Now,
Oh,
it's
okay.
not just about being vocal, because that's what some people think. It's not just about about using the vocal cords to communicate, or the voice to communicate. The throat is about expression. So if the cat is unable to express itself, i.e., by doing a normal cat behavior, which is scratching something, you are diminishing and taking away energy from the cat's throat chakra.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also if you think about the connection that you've got when you're shouting at them, you're shifting a lot of your energy,
Oh, they can
but you're
feel
actually
that.
taking
Yeah.
it from theirs.
Okay.
So then what happens is the cat may stop expressing itself, or it may lose its voice. You may notice that you had a very vocal cat before and now it's really quiet, or vice versa. It depends whether it's too much energy or
Yeah.
not enough energy.
I see a lot of parallels here in relationships and children.
Yes.
Because if you're with somebody that gets angry and shouts at you, especially as a child, right? Eventually, either you're going to become shut down or you're going to be reactive in an aggressive or like, fight or flight kind of way, right? So
Yes.
a cat, I guess, or mammal would be very similar. You yell at them for no understanding. They have no understanding of like why. And they're going to do it. They're going to lose their voice. Like a child can lose his voice and then it comes out other ways, or, so I just keep drawing parallels between all of
Yeah.
us being animals.
Absolutely, and that's a really great, is a great parallel. And like you said about diminish their spirit, if you shout at your cat, my question to the humans are, why are you shouting? Is it because you don't understand the behavior, or is it because you don't like the behavior? Because if you don't like it, you've asked to live with a cat, you've got a cat as your pet, you need to understand why your cat is doing that behavior, which is, like I said before, it comes back to the human and their lack of understanding about the
Mhm.
aggression or the anxiety. But if you, for example, in this example, if you keep shouting at your cat because they scratch the sofa,
Mhm.
you're diminishing that cat's spirit. What you may notice is in a couple of months' time, they start to urinate around the house. Because
Right.
actually, and it's not because of the litter tray, it's not because of any
Mhm.
diet issue, it's
Mhm.
because they're unable to express themselves, because the sacral chakra is connected to the kidney, the bladder. So if they can't express themselves by using
Being a
their
cat.
scratching,
Yeah.
it's all
Wow,
the
that
point
is
is
that I'm
energy's
gonna
all
learn more
connected.
about that. That's what the book is about, everyone. I mean,
Yeah.
check this out because this is really interesting. Yeah, it's funny because people will say like, well, because oh, you're a cat trainer, and they'll ask me like, how do I do this behavior? And I'm like, well, I don't do that. Well, my cat walks on the counter, and I'm like, yeah, it's a cat. I mean, he needs to be high and look down on things. This is the nature of cats, or he'll bite my ankles when I walk by. And I said, well, do you have two? Like my kitten, I have a new kitten and he bites my ankles. And like, do you have two kittens? No, only one kitten. And I said, go get another kitten right away because he needs to have a buddy. He needs to be social and put that energy into each other. They'll still
Yeah.
be, oh, then he won't love me. Oh, that's not true. Believe me, two cats can, 3, 7, 10 cats can love you. This is not an issue. They'll be in their colony, but they'll still love you and want to be with you. So, just like, yes, it's a cat. Like, what do you expect? It's a cat,
I know,
so.
and that point there, you said, well, like about them loving you. That's the bit that I'm starting to work with now. It's
Mhm.
helping the guardians to understand. So, what are your expectations of a cat? What needs in you are you projecting onto your cat? Why do you expect your
Yes.
cat to be a certain way? What need in you are you expecting them to fill? If you want, I mean, who doesn't want a cuddly cat? Cats feel nice to touch because of their fur.
Oh,
So who
yeah.
doesn't want a cuddly cat? But not all cats are cuddly, like I said before.
No.
And if you have a cat that's not cuddly, you have to respect that, because if you don't, unfortunately, you're going to damage the relationship. There'll be the
Mhm.
energy and the emotion that exchanges between you, and it can lead to behavioral and physical issues. When we accept a cat for the being that they are,
Mhm.
in the way that they are, your relationship can then truly blossom. If you see
Mhm.
them as the
Yep.
being and
With
how they
yep.
show you love, it can be
Oh, yeah.
phenomenal.
Well, I can't, I love my horses and I love my dogs, and my chickens and my sheep and all that. I can't imagine not having cats in my life. I'm so blessed that I'm
Mhm,
able to. And I
mhm.
can't imagine, I mean, how, because I'm probably with them physically more than any of my other animals, because the dogs are big and so they don't sit on my lap as much as they'd love to. Um, and the dogs, I love them, but there's too many. I have 3, and I don't want them all on my bed. So sorry, dog people, but I don't want all 3 cats. But the cats on my bed, like when we travel, oh, I miss my
Mhm,
cat. I miss them
mhm.
because I want my, and how hard it was to lose Pickles, I'm sure for you.
Yeah.
Evelyn is fine. She's 19. She's, kidneys
Mhm.
are still okay, but there's gonna come a
Mm.
time.
Yeah.
So I've got another cat that is like they get along. They're fine.
Mhm.
Cleo, but Cleo's learning her place on the bed because I like and we're making room. I mean, I know that sounds terrible, but animals make room for each other. When animals
Yes.
leave us, they're making room for another animal. I kind of believe that.
Yes.
And I'm a big heaven person, so I kind of believe I'll see all my cats again, and they'll go, "You made us wear clothes." But anyway, I do love them, so I get that. I have another question before we go to the next segment of the show. But another quick question: multiple cats, people with multiple
Mhm.
cats. Do cats cause each other problems that block their chakras, or is it mostly human? The guardians not doing managing resources well, or like causing conflicts. There's not enough space and not enough, like the resources are being threatened. I mean, multiple cats. Can they affect each other's chakras, or is this more? I'm just curious. I don't know.
No, absolutely. It's a great question again. So yes, they can. If you think about with humans, when you're with certain people, you'll spend time with them, and then you'll come home and feel probably a bit drained. Others, you'll come home and you know what I mean. Other people you'll spend time with, and you come home and you feel like you're going to go and tackle all the housework because you're just buzzing and absolutely full of energy. And again, it's the same with cats, to draw that parallel. So in a multi-cat home, you need to be a heightened guardian. You need to be more aware. And that's even more of a reason to use like color therapy and chakra work, by having colors around the house to give the cats the opportunity to manage their own energy. Because, and, as you said, it's all about relationships. It's the emotions, emotions are energy in motion. So if you've got a cat that is being...
Oh, sorry. Stop right there. That is a beautiful. Emotions are energy in motion. I'm going to steal that. Emotions are energy in motion. Wow. Yeah. I mean, we could have a whole show just about that. That's wonderful. Okay. You're right. Yeah. I mean, it's really true. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you've got multiple cats, like with multiple humans, think of all the different emotions that people or the cats are experiencing. If you've got a cat that's being bullied, if you've got a cat that's shy and has got nowhere to hide away, if you've got a cat that, like you said, needs to have heights to feel safe, and you don't have any, you've only got one and it's already taken over by another cat, you've got to take the time to manage the dynamics. And that's not just from a behavior perspective. For me, behavior is the what's the word? Behavior is like the symptom of an emotion. If you've got an aggressive cat, it's because there's an emotional reason for it. If you've got a cat that's hiding away, there's an emotional reason for it. So for me, when you're dealing with a multi-cat home, take time to know each of your cats as an individual, and then understand how those individuals interact in that group space, because as you said, it is going to impact their energy as it would ours.
Okay. One more question related to that, and then we'll move on to the cake break and questions. Because we have some questions that I'll get to that. But I have a friend who has a cat that she confines him to a different room during parts of the day because she just can't deal with whatever, right? And he cries, and like just this mournful cry, and I guess it's not possible because he disturbs her work. I'm not really sure why he can't always be with her. What is he saying when this is mournful, over and over again for, extended periods? Now he has his needs met, physical needs met. Okay. And he's got space and, all the things, but he's not with her. And there's other cats. They're not crying. They're down there with him. I don't know what recommendation besides say it's just not possible at those times that the cat can be on her lap, for instance, for this talking a few hours at a time. Is he just an extremely vocal cat? I mean, he's obviously telling her something.
Exactly that. He's trying to communicate something with her. So without having a picture of the cat or knowing the cat, obviously it's difficult for me to be able to say exactly what's going on for him. But a child, a human, an animal, if it's vocalizing, they're either happy or they're sad. They're either sharing with you and connecting with you, or they're looking for connection. So, it's pretty simple in my opinion.
I just feel bad because, he's in my head, he's crying,
Yeah, I would say, it's cats, they need connection. They're not beings that you can just leave alone. That's a really common misconception, and you can hear in my voice, it actually frustrates me and it actually upsets me quite a bit.
You wouldn't leave a child alone for long periods,
No.
So he happens to be a cat that craves being with the human perhaps more than another cat. Like it's a bigger need for him.
It might not even be a question that he craves it. It might be that he needs to have that connection with a human to feel safe. It might be that he needs that connection with the human to feel secure in his environment. It might be that he needs that connection with the human to feel grounded. Again, there are so many reasons. And like you said, we all do the best that we can. If she can't have him in the house for whatever reason or different rooms, we do what we can with what we've got. there are ways to support him, in terms of the emotional side of it, but it depends if that's applicable with the space that they've got, with the amount of cats that are there.
Well,
that,
I'm going to tell her, we're going to get her book, get you the book.
yeah,
So you can maybe
that's what I was going to say.
enlighten. Okay, so the next segment of our show is what we call the cake break, or pie time, or whatever it is. I don't know if we can try to hold this up so you can see this yummy blueberry cornmeal, and if you were here, although you're where in the UK are you exactly?
I'm in Plymouth. So I'm in the southwest. So I'm down towards the furthest end of the map, opposite London, the other side of the country.
Sounds beautiful. Well, if you were here, I don't know how many miles away that is to Wisconsin, but if you were here, we would be sharing this lovely blueberry cornmeal cake. Luckily my crew, because I have to feed them, my crew will enjoy it when we're done here. But this marks the time we call where we have the questions for you now. So what we do is I borrowed this idea from Warwick Schiller, who's kind of what you're doing with cats. Warwick Schiller is doing with horses, educating people how to have, literally he uses the word attunement with horses. And he has a wonderful podcast. And so you might want to check that out, because there's so much animal behavior, and he talks about people's journeys in the world of attunement, learning how to be more in touch with our animals and their feelings. He has a section where we sent you ahead of time these 20 questions that he borrowed from Tim Ferriss, which is the book Tribe of Mentors. Okay, so we'll give everybody credit when we're borrowing these things. And we asked you to pick out 5 of those that we get to ask you. Okay, so the questions that you asked is the first one was, what book would you recommend and why?
So the
naturally,
first book
besides your own books. I mean, because
I was going to say the first the first book that I would recommend would be either, because I've got 2 books, would be either of my books. So Cat Chakras, obviously, of course, or The Aromatic Cat, which is my second book. So that's about how to use herbs and hydrosols with cats. If we're talking about not my book, right, I would probably say, I would have to say, Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting by Lynn Grabhorn, I think it is.
Wow, okay.
It's a bit of a curveball, I know. So it's not about cats, but it's about energy and about how you can manage your own, and how your energy and your kind of frequency impacts your day-to-day life. And for me, that was a book that was like, it was a light bulb moment.
Wow.
I read that book, and I can't even tell you how it came into my life. Maybe my sister bought it for me. I can't remember. But I've got so many underlines, so many folded corners. And every time I read the book, I take something different from it. So I would say that book.
Please repeat the title of that again. The book.
It's called Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting. And it's by Lynn Grabhorn.
Okay, we're going to definitely look into that. Just a note to my producer, if you want to put that in the show notes. Okay, great. All right. What is the most valuable thing that you've put your time into that has changed the course of your life?
And I said to ask me that question. Wow, what was I thinking?
Tough one, right? Yeah, it's a tough one.
Can you repeat it for me, Barbara, again, please?
What is the most valuable thing that you've put your time into that has changed the course of your life?
I would have to say meditation.
This is a common thread with people who are in tune.
Is it? So whenever I meditate, my relationship changes with my 2 cats, my 2 current boys, Leo and baby Max. So Leo is one of those cats that isn't particularly cuddly. He was previously feral, but when I meditate, sometimes he'll come and lay on my legs when I'm meditating, or when I've meditated that next morning, I'll get chest cuddles from him. And the more I meditate, the more physical our relationship is, and the more loving he is, which I think is connected to my energy. So, yeah, I mean, the way it's impacted
everyone. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, that's really cool. Okay, in the last 5 years, what new belief, behavior, or habit has most improved your life?
The belief that I have the capacity to manage my frequency and my vibration.
Okay, that's a big one. That's good, and we'll learn about that when we read more of what you're sharing with us. that self-regulation, in a sense, that ability to be aware. Um,
Mm.
I've been an animal actor trainer for a very long time, and in the last couple of years, I'm just blown away by how much is out there to learn and get better at having an understanding.
Mm.
So good on you, because I think there's a real need. Everyone wants to be more fair, more generous, more understanding, be guardians instead of owners. I love that
Mm.
phrase. So that's really cool. Okay, this is a good one. What is the worst advice given in your profession or bad idea that you hear of in your field of expertise? Everyone always laughs at like that because, oh my goodness, there's a lot going on always, right?
So for me, I would say the worst piece of advice people can give is after you've had multiple cats, or say two cats, and one passes away, or one's put to sleep, one dies,
Mhm.
is when people say, get another cat. So I know you mentioned about kittens, and that's different. So like you said, with kittens, there is the element to do the socialization, to build
Mhm.
relationship, to test their boundaries. It's actually, I would say, essential if you have kittens to get two. Completely agree with you there.
Right.
But when people say, my cat is lonely, I'm going to get a second cat,
Mhm.
or people say, I think my cat is lonely, what should I do? And people say, get a second cat. That's one of the pieces of advice that makes me cringe, because then it
Ah.
leads to a whole host of problems of introductions. My cats don't get on, one then starts weeing, this one won't be cuddly, because people
Mhm.
misunderstand the emotions of the cat that they've already got. So yeah, I
It's
would.
like if you're married and he says, "I'm just going to get another wife because you need a friend." At least in most cultures, it's like, maybe not.
Yeah. Yeah, or if you get divorced and like one of you has one kid and one of you has the other, and you say, oh, I'm going to go get a second kid because this one's lonely. Like it just,
Oh goodness, that would be. See, but we haven't
no,
even given the cats that consideration. Did you
no,
ask him if he wants a buddy? So I've
exactly.
always had multi-cat households, and so there's never been a single cat. They've always come in pairs,
Yeah,
because they come as kittens, and I
yeah,
just feel
good.
that,
Yeah.
and then they have each other to groom, and they have each other to, uh, so. But
Yeah.
yeah, I never really thought of that. You're right. It's like he's
I
lonely.
mean,
Let's
if
get
you've
him
got
another
if you've
one.
got one cat that's passed away, whether the cat's got on or not, that cat needs to grieve and adjust. So like
Mhm.
my dad's had two cats. One of them was put to sleep about 6-8 months ago. The other cat,
Mhm.
they're not contemplating getting a second one, but the other cat is actually thriving now. He's better as an only cat. He's eating
Mhm.
better. He's not spraying around the house. He's a happier cat. So if my dad felt lonely, like, oh, we need to get a second one,
Mhm.
it's like, well, look at the needs of the cat, and do you have the capacity to do introductions? Because you can't just come home with a cat
Oh,
and
that
let it
no, no,
out
no,
into the
no.
house. Like,
No, no, that's a recipe
no,
for
no, no.
disaster because
Yes.
yeah, that's when we do work in the studio, if there's been strange cats that we have nothing to do with, I'm always like, we have to like clean this space because they're going to smell these strange cats and they'll be worried, like, are they threats?
Yes.
Because they can't see them.
Yes.
They're not there.
Yes.
And if they were there, they'd have to spend a lot of time at a distance going, it's like a whole stressful
Hmm.
situation I don't want to put them in.
No,
So
I love that. I love that you do that. That's good.
well,
Yeah,
I
great.
want to be as fair as I'm asking them to wear a sweater. I need to be as
Yeah.
fair as possible. But they
Yeah.
do love it, and I choose them so carefully for
Yeah.
enjoying the travel, enjoying the work, enjoying the intention. Because I have other cats here that do not model, and they don't have to. That's not their job. They just are happy being here because I love them, and or retired ones that don't that they're just retired. They're going to live like Evelyn doesn't model. She's 19. I'm not going to take her out to these places. She did as it when she was
Yeah.
younger. But I always want to be respectful of every animal we work with because I'm asking something of them, and they don't have to do it. They're
No, I love
giving.
that.
They're
I love that you
giving it
have
to
that
me.
respect, because for me, that is the basis of any relationship with the cat. Regardless of what's going on, we call ourselves out their guardians. They deserve respect, just like
Mhm.
other beings. And like you said, to understand those that you're working with and how they will tolerate that, how you've built them up to manage that situation,
Mhm.
and that you support them with the scent and things, I think it's really beautiful, because you know there are cats that love to be on show, that thrive in those kind of environments. And if you've
Yeah, they
got
do.
cats that you feel safe and they feel safe and happy, great. But like you said, there are some, I think about my Leo, he, when he sees a human, he runs a mile. So trying
Yeah.
to get a cat like that to where, like, I can't,
Yeah.
it just
We
stresses me
would
out
never
thinking
ask
about it.
them. Yeah.
Exactly.
I loved it.
Exactly.
Just a brief story. I would back in the day. I had a cat named Fast Eddie, and he was one of my first models because I just started out, and I would go around to different schools as part of a program and talk about cats and how to behave around them and stuff like that. And so I'd put him on a table in his crate so that when he got out of the crate, he'd be higher up, and the kids would all be sitting on the ground. And I'd say, okay, now we need to be really quiet and calm and just all take a deep breath because there's like 24 of you and there's only one of him, and we want him to feel safe and good. But when he comes out, it's okay to say, oh, because he's so beautiful. And watch when he comes out, he's going to take a bow and then his tail's going to go up and you're going to see him just smile because he loves how much you like him. And so I'd open the crate and, Eddie would saunter out and the children would all very beautifully go, oh, in a really soft, breathing way. And fast Eddie, I mean, this is what he lived for. And he'd go like, oh, yes. And, the whole body. And he would jump down and walk around the group and, tolerate the petting because the children had been forewarned. Let's calm our energy. Let's be, and Eddie thrived on that. Now you could not take a different cat, that would be like not even getting out of the crate, So but I've learned to read them. I can walk into an animal shelter and I can look around the group and I'd go, you will love this work and you will not,
Beautiful.
I can't go to animal shelters anymore because it breaks my heart because I want to take them all. I mean, so I have, lovely cats and I love them, but it all comes back down to that respect. Okay, so we're going to be wrapping up here soon. We have one more question, and it's interesting because of all the podcasts we've done, which you're number 5. So we're just starting. Thank you. The people always pick this question. What is your relationship with fear? What is your relationship with fear?
I used to run from it.
Which makes sense. Why wouldn't you? Right? So
I used to hide from it. I used to ignore it. I used to push it down. And since having Leo, and particularly the last 18 months, I have learned to find time for it, to find time for my fear.
Time for your fear.
Yeah. Wow. To find time for it, to connect with it, to hear where it's coming from, to find out how I can nurture it. My relationship with fear has changed, again, as a result of Leo and our relationship. I've had fears about him, his health, his well-being, etc., coming home, all the rest of it. And I have really learned to now face it, to find it, to feel it, and to release it. That's one of my mantras for my life. Find it, feel it, release it. Emotions, fear, resistance. You can't. I try to be the best guardian I can be for my boys, and in order to do that, I've got to look at my mental, emotional, and energetic health. So if I ignore my emotions or my energy in motion, we've got no hope. So
I've heard the example of how mammals, humans, because of our frontal cortex, we think as in a different way. We think a lot more because abstract things. Where animals, if they're in danger and the horse runs from the danger, runs from the mountain lion, right? And the mountain lion doesn't catch it. And then the horse just goes and he shakes it all off. And then it's done until the next mountain lion. Like he doesn't carry around the fear every minute, unless we've traumatized him as human, with something that's traumatized, but he doesn't carry it around in the wild. They don't normally carry that around. They shake it off and they move on. And that's what humans need to do with our fears, but our brains really make that hard.
Yeah.
Well, this has been so enlightening, and we've so enjoyed talking with you today. Could you please share with us before we say goodbye, like how we find you, where we can find your book? I'll have all this in the notes, but for people listening right now, how do we get in touch with Julie Ann, and where do we find the information that you've been teaching us today?
Sure. So thank you very much, Barbara, again, for having me. It's been lovely to spend some time with you talking about cats. So Naturally Cats is on Facebook and Instagram. It's just at Naturally Cats. My website is www.naturallycats.co.uk. The Cat Chakra book and the Aromatic Cat book, you can get both of those from my website or actually any online retailer. So Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Waterstones, they've all got them. Okay. And if people want to work with me, they can join me for my Become a Soul-Led Cat Guardian program. So it's an opportunity for people to do the work on themselves to delve deeper into their emotional, mental health, to be able to come out of their heart and come out of their head, and come into their heart to work with the soul of their cat.
Oh, come out of their head and into their heart. Wow. If we could, we would all feel so much better if we could do that, because we want to. Well, this is wonderful. And again, Julie, thank you so much for having coming on our show. I'm as we grow, I bet we'll come back again and we'll talk some more again. And everyone, go take a look at Julie's information, and you and your cats will be happier for it.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Barbara. It's been
Thank you.
lovely.
Great.